So in today's video, we're going to talk about loading up items onto a pocket rack like this one. This one's about 4 inches tall and about 2.5 inches high. This is a pocket rack mini. Um, in this particular case, we're going to be looking for a flashlight that'll fit on here, that has good weight, and that gives me the maximum amount of output that I can get for a flashlight that'll fit on this size. So I asked Lumen about this, and they suggested this flashlight. So this is the X2 from Lumen, and it's got a cute little face on it, which I thought was pretty funny. But the really interesting part about this flashlight is that it fits onto the rack perfectly, and it puts out 2,500 lumens, which is remarkable, and has a 7.4 watt hour battery pack built into it with double cells. I opened it up to check and see it. It's a dual cell pack, so it's pretty interesting. So you can't. I'm just blown away by this. Anyway, so just to show you what's happened to the technology, and I'm sure you've seen this demonstration before, but I'm going to show it to you anyway. This little guy here, I checked the lux output on this flashlight, the little tiny one, and I couldn't believe this, 14,481 and 0.5 lux at half a meter. That's what it's outputting. That's compared. This is a mag light. This is a 3D cell mag light. In its day, it was considered to be cutting edge technology as far as flashlights go. I put an LED. I've taken out the incandescent on this one, and so this one I measured too. It's 2,079 lux compared to 14,000 for this little one. It's amazing. It blows me away. Anyway, we're gonna get into this. We're gonna build out the rack. We'll get into more details on the stats for this thing, and we'll have fun. See you in a bit. All right, so I want to get into something real quick before we start to get into the flashlight. So you've got 20 square inches to work with here. There's 10 on one side of this card, and there's 10 on the other. On the larger pocket racks, you're going to get more. This is the mini version of the pocket rack, and it's the one I usually use. I just like the size, and it fits my pocket easily. But you have to think about the space that each item is using up, how often you're going to use that, and how to prioritize the tools that you're going to be putting on this pocket rack. It's really an important factor for how these builds work. So this is the pocket rack that I usually carry with me. You can see it's kind of been abused here. I've got a driver. The bits that I have in here are for me. I've set them up so that they work with my bicycle. I do a lot of riding, and that's what I got in here. I have some bits for that. I also have some standard bits that I need for knives and things like that as well. And I've also got this Bic lighter. I just put the Bic lighter in here. I've gone most of the year that I've had this thing without the Bic lighter. I had matches set up in here before, but I switched up to a Bic lighter, and it takes up more space, but I want it because I'm using it more. It's more effective. I'm melting things. I'm able to use this for heating things up if I need to sterilize things. It does a lot more that I could do with a match. Match just didn't do it for me. This thing is definitely much better, and plus I've got the tape on it as well, so I've used the tape like all the time as well. But everything here has been just tried and tested. And on the other side, I've got the Knipex pliers. I've got a bit extender. This is a great bit driver. I mean, I really like this a lot. I did a video on it. You can find it in my channel if you want to take a look. And then I've got a standard flashlight. There's nothing really fancy about this flashlight. It uses both a lithium ion as well as a AA if I want to. I kind of like that ability. And it throws out about 1,300 lumens. But this is okay for what I'm doing. I don't need the other stuff. This is all right for my needs. So on this, you're making an accommodation for the additional size of this. But if you're working at night and you need a flashlight that's got a broad beam, this has got 3 LEDs that are coming out of this thing, and throws out 2,000 to 2,500 lumens on turbo, this is the one you want. This is just a beast of a flashlight. I've never seen anything in this small format that can do that. It's pretty remarkable. Next to it, I have a Otical D1. This is a mini bit driver. It actually has the mini bits. I think there's 8 mini bits. 2. There's 8 mini bits inside of the unit. You pop open the thing and you can pop it in there. So I've made an accommodation for that. Maybe if I didn't want to use that and I wanted to use a bit driver like this, it would fit perfectly. So I could put that in there very easily. But you're making accommodations, and you're thinking about the size of the rack, and you're thinking about the importance of the tools that are on it when you're building these out, and you're going to end up with exactly what you want. Don't follow what other people are building. Build what works for you. So all I'm pointing out with all of this is just to tell you that this flashlight could be for you. It could not be for you. But I'm just, I'm thankful to Lumen for coming up with this idea to show this thing, and I appreciate that. But it may not be designed for what your purposes are for a flashlight. But for me, I'm going to have this in reserve and I'm going to be using it. I like what it does. I was really impressed with how this thing. In fact, I'm going to show you some video in a bit about how the throw works on this and the settings. But yeah, it's a nice little unit. I think it's pretty heavily waterproof too, which is pretty interesting. Anyway, we're going to get into more detail. So that's before we start into the stats on this thing. I just wanted to talk about that aspect of it. Yeah, just be highly wary of not wary, but just think about what you're going to the purpose is for why you're putting things on the Pocket Rack, why you're carrying them, and everything just starts to come together after a while. Anyway, let's get into the next segment. See you in a bit. All right, let's get into the opening of the box here. So this is the Lumen packaging that I received. It's got a magnetic seal on it, which I think is kind of cool. It just kind of locks in place. It's a nice touch on the report as far as the packaging goes. This is the instruction box, easy carry light, and I've opened it up to the parameters of the light. So turbo, 2500 to 800 lumens, and depending on the type of bulb, I think I have the Osram, but I can't remember. Yeah, I think it's the Osram, but it's 2500 to 800, and then the other one is the 1800 to 800. And then you've got high of 400 lumens, medium 100 lumens, low 5, strobe 1000, and you have SOS at 200. It also comes with this really cool little red filter that pops on top of it, which I think is kind of neat. So if you are walking, I had mentioned this earlier, that if you're walking on the road or something and you want to pop this on top and stick it into a pocket or hang it from a lanyard, yeah, that's a very nice little touch that they have for the strobe function. And the other neat thing, this is a really cool feature, is this lanyard. It looks like a regular lanyard. It looks like a nylon strap. Check this out. This is just amazing. I love this. Is brilliant. It's a charging cable. It's so nicely designed. This is like such a huge plus for this unit. And you can just stick it, use it as a lanyard. You can actually hang the thing from it. It's got a really nice little attachment device here for holding on to the flashlight. But that is just brilliant. I love that idea. And here's the flashlight. We'll pop it out of here. This is the light. It's a pretty nice design. Again, fairly waterproof. It's not really meant for diving, but it can evidently when I opened this up and I checked out the battery pack on the inside, there is a nice O-ring that's set up on the inside and sealed. It doesn't look like they put any grease on it or anything like that. So it's a fairly it's just a standard O-ring, and I bet there's one on the opposite side too. So this is the other attachment point. It would be difficult to open up this side because of this blocking here. So getting the screwdriver in there, you'd need something that would really fit nicely. So I did manage to take the back off though, just to kind of confirm about the situation as far as the lighting goes. And you can't just pull out the battery pack either. It appears to be attached here, either soldered in, or there's some attachment point up here. So you'd have to open up this end first if you had to get to it. But it's not really made for the owner to change out the batteries. But it is an interesting 2-cell battery pack that's in here. So that's kind of 2 cylindrical batteries, by the way. It's not a regular like a lithium pack on the inside. It's 2 cylindrical batteries into a pack. Anyway, so let's get into this. So it's a pretty standard setup for the Lumen flashlights. Single press. Let me see. I have to get out of the lock. So I have it in lock mode right now, and I would highly recommend. I think I mentioned this earlier. Keeping it in lock mode if you have it in your pocket or any other place, because when this thing comes on, it puts out a lot of heat if you're in turbo. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and that should put me into the low end, which is the start, and then there's number 2, number 3, and then back to the original. And then when you want to go turbo, it's 1, 2, 1, 2, and that's turbo. So again, that's putting out probably about 2,000 to 2,500 lumens. And it's a very broad beam because you're dealing with the 3 light heads on the inside, which is pretty impressive. I was, it's throwing out that kind of light. And when I was taking my meter reading, I'm at 50 centimeters away from the bulb, and I'm taking the brightest point for the meter reading for the lux meter. But this is such a broad beam. It's amazing. It's throwing out a lot of light, and I can feel the head really warming up here. So again, it gets up to about 100 degrees in about a minute when you're on turbo like this. I'm not quite sure if it shuts down on its own or not, but yeah, there's an SOS function, there's a strobe function, there's the 3 light settings, and there's the turbo mode. And yeah, pretty easy to work with. I really like. I don't know why I'm getting more and more attached to the face on this thing. I think it's kind of interesting the way it's set up. I love the low profile too. Very narrow, very thin. It's kind of nice. Really interesting. So, 7.4 watt hours. I had mentioned that earlier, and you can see it right there, 7.4 watt hours. And I did confirm that the cell on the inside does say 7.4 watt hours. So yeah, it is definitely, that is what it's rated at. And yeah, that's about it for this. So I'm going to show you now some video of some external stuff I did last night, a couple nights ago actually it was, showing you how this beam looks at night in my backyard. And then I've got some stats too compared to some other flashlights I've used. And you'll be able to see those in a PDF that's attached to the description in this video. So stick around and we'll get into that now. And there you go. That's the lowest setting right now. I think it's about 5 or 6 lumens or 10 lumens or something. I can barely see it. See the back of the house. All right, let's see if I can go up to the next one. Okay, that's the second highest setting. See the trees. Back of the house. Take it up to the next level. That's even brighter. And 1, 2, and that is pretty amazing. That's about 2,000 lumens, and that is turbo. Very impressive. So that's what I've got for today. I am genuinely impressed with this little beast. I mean, look at the size of this thing. It's so compact, and it's got some just amazing capabilities. I'm really impressed with it. I'll probably at some point put it onto my maybe one of the larger pocket racks that I'm working on. But yeah, it's just, there's so much to this thing. It's really nice. The other thing that I'm really impressed with is this lanyard that comes with it. I mean, let me show you this. I don't know if you can see this really sharply, but see that? It's pretty cool. And it's huge. It's absolutely enormous. So you've got this massive charging cable now that you can carry with you as a lanyard. And I think it's a brilliant idea to put that together like that. I'm sure other people are doing it. This is the first time I've seen something like this. And it locks in so nicely. And then this bottom part here looks like it hooks up right here. So you can just have that full capability. Here's the red filter that I had mentioned earlier. So you can see that. Oh, covering his eyes, don't want to do that. But yeah, there you go. So this is nice for walking on the street at night. You know, if you want to have a little flasher on the lanyard just hanging from you, I think it'd be absolutely perfect for keeping cars away from getting you. Anyway, that's pretty much all I've got for tonight. Well, night where I am. But yeah, if you're interested in more information about the flashlight, and I ran some test comparisons for lux between some of the other lights that I've tested over the past year, so you can compare this to what those flashlights were doing. That'll be in the PDF in the description as usual. I think I've also got a discount coupon from Lumen if you're interested in getting one of these. So they offer that as well, and I'll put that in there. And I think that's about it.